And I was thinking that the way that I would frame the response was around research, development and realisation as some essential stages of any kind of creative process. So thinking about research and thinking about how these sorts of environments, these open environments might facilitate knowing more about, for instance, research. It was interesting through some of the experiments that we've done to see how information can be shared, but also process and method can be developed and evolved collaboratively. I use that word slightly reservedly because I understand that collaboration can be tricky, particularly for students at the beginning of their journey, undergraduate journey, or even at higher stages. So research and the exploration of process is something that I think is something that can be teased out in a more expanded way in these sorts of spaces. Thinking about one's own process as well is often helped through that kind of shared experience, and sharing and working mutually seem to be common features, I think, of these spaces. I also then began to think a little bit more about the relationship between research and development and criticality. Criticality is obviously something that we're endeavouring to help students develop as an intellectual or cognitive process that runs through their practical making. And how you can start to include discussion around challenging assumptions through making that seem to happen more fluently in the sorts of open environments that we're referring to. Practically speaking, form and dimensionality are of course key to my own discipline and probably to most creative art and design practice. And there is something about being able to have a virtual but sort of tangible experience of form, which enables you to talk in a slightly more sophisticated way, for instance in my case about drawing and about representation. I've used the word interpolation here in my notes. I think interpolation is key, particularly when you start talking about art and design basics, because often one of the big challenges is to be able to comprehend the environment around you and translate that into something on a piece of paper, for instance. In many ways, what happens with, what seems to be happening, at least with students who are operating through that virtual environment, is that they are much more aware of the dimensionality of the thing that they're perceiving, because they can actually move it and they can move around it. And that in a way it's a sort of cognitive trick, almost muscle memory, has the capacity, I would say, and the potential to really support drawing skill.